Welcome everyone to Tino's Time Wrestling. And now it's time, after everybody watched my collection episode, I hope you enjoyed all the fun and cool stuff that I showed you. It's time to begin the road to WrestleMania. It's the best time of the year. It's January, the end of January. We have the best pay-per-view that I love besides WrestleMania and a few others. The Royal Rumble is one of my favorite. 30 men, 30 women. Who's going to survive and who's going to main event WrestleMania in Dallas, Texas? But before we get to WrestleMania, we have the Royal Rumble. And can Doudrop dethrone big time Bex? Can Doudrop, can she win the Raw Women's Championship? Can the It Couple dethrone and beat the Grit Couple, Edge and Beth Phoenix? I doubt it, but we'll see. Can Seth Freakin Rollins defeat the head of the table and take the Universal Championship over to Monday nights? The match we have all been waiting for. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. It's been years in the making. And like I said a minute ago, 30 men, 30 women. We have legends returning. Hopefully some surprises, because when we get to the matches later on, there's not very many open spots, but we'll talk about that later on. The Royal Rumble match is it's supposed to be one of the most unpredictable matches of all time. And it usually is, but we'll have to see. The Royal Rumble, though, is personally one of my favorites, and I cannot wait to see everything that's going to go down. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get into all the action that's going to go down. We have 6 matches, we have 2 Royal Rumbles, we have a couple championship matches, and we have a mixed tag team match that we all thought that we would never see, but that now we want to see it. The first match that I do want to talk about is the mixed tag team match. It is The Miz and Maryse, the It Couple, versus the Grit Couple, Beth Phoenix and Edge. And these two have been going back and forth on Monday Night Raw. Maryse has walked out on The Miz. We've seen Beth Phoenix scare the crap out of Maryse. We've seen so many things happen. We've seen Edge pour black stuff on Miz and Maryse. We've seen so many things happen in this rivalry, and I've really, really enjoyed it, people. It's been one of my favorites that have actually been going on in WWE right now, and one of the rivalries that I've really enjoyed. And, I think this match is going to be really good. And to be honest, I'm really happy this match is happening at the Royal Rumble and not happening at WrestleMania, because I really hope that Edge isn't a big time match at WrestleMania, and maybe Beth Phoenix or Maryse they might even be in the Royal Rumble too. We'll have to see though. But at the end of this match, I am taking the Grit Couple to win, and they're going to defeat the It Couple, and Miz and Maryse are going to be sitting at home crying, and they're going to have to go back and just film some more episodes of Miss and Mrs., and that would be fun because we love that show. But I'm taking the Grit Couple to win the mixed tag team match. The next match on the card that we're going to talk about, it's Becky Lynch versus Doudrop for the Raw Women's Championship. And let's be real, I love Doudrop, and I love, I'm really mad that they changed her name and everything like that, but it is what it is, because that's what Vince does, and, we've just, at this point, I guess, I've just learned to accept it, I guess, because he does it, and we might talk about Walter, or you mean Gunter, or whatever the hell he's calling him in an NXT 2.0 now, but this is another one that they did. They changed Doudrop's name, and it just... it is what it is. But I've really enjoyed this rivalry, and I'm going back and forth, and I think Doudrop's doing a really good job right now. And, I don't see Doudrop winning this match, but I think it's going to be a good match, and, I think that they're going to put on a good show. But there's no way Big Time Bex is losing, and she's going to go on and face somebody at WrestleMania. I don't see her losing. So I don't want to spend too much more time on this match. We're going to take Big Time Bex, and we're going to move on to the Universal Championship match, and we're going to talk about Seth Freakin Rollins versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. We saw Roman Reigns get COVID, and he got knocked out of day 1, and he got sick and everything, and he was just not able to compete. And, there was supposed to be that thing with him and Brock then, but that didn't happen. So apparently there are rumors out there right now, people, that Seth can win this match. And the way they're doing it more and more on WWE TV the last few weeks, I could easily see it too. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did have Seth win. I mean, this match is going to be really good with the rivalry that they had going back all the way to the Shield, and we've seen Shield promotions and him going all the way back when Triple H said there's always a plan B, and Seth beat the crap out of Roman Reigns and Jon Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose at the time. You know, I don't know, but this is the one match that I feel like could be very well an upset. And that is why I'm going to take Seth Rollins to win this. You might be surprised and you might be shocked, but I really do believe that there is a chance that Seth Rollins wins. We see Big E, maybe Kevin Owens win the Rumble, and we see Seth versus Kevin Owens at Mania for the Universal Championship, or maybe Big E versus Seth Rollins, and then we'll see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. So I'm going with the upset set on that one, and at least if I say it, we could go back to this on the post show and be like, hey, your boy Tino called it and everybody thought I was crazy. But going Seth freaking Rollins. Now, let's talk about the match that we have all been waiting for. Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar have been on the same type of wavelength where Bobby was ECW champion, Brock was WWE champion, Brock went to UFC, Bobby went to UFC. Brock came back to WWE. Bobby came back to the WWE. It was all meant to happen, and it was all meant to go down at the Royal Rumble. And we are finally going to see it for the WWE Championship. And this match is going to be a banger, and I cannot wait to see it. I don't care who wins, to be honest, people. I just want to see a good fight, and I want to see these two go after each other like we know that they can, and we know that they will, because these two men have been waiting for this match as long as we have. And it's going to be an absolute banger. But, like I said, as we talked about with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, I do believe Brock Lesnar will continue to be the WWE Champion and beat Bobby Lashley. Not saying that it's not going to be a phenomenal match and they're going to put on a show, but I'm taking the beast, the cowboy wearing, whatever you want to call him, the real Brock Lesnar. I'm taking Brock to be and to still be your WWE Champion after the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania. Before I do forget to mention about the Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns match, the Usos are banned from ringside. So that's another reason why I do think that Seth could pull it off. Even though the Usos possibly could come out and do an interrupt, they are banned. So as of now, I think that is an advantage for Seth. So I just wanted to remind people that because I did forget to mention it. But now that we talked about the mixed tag team and the 3 championship matches, it's time to rumble, everybody. It's time to talk about the 2 Royal Rumble matches, the men's and the women's. And we're going to start off with the women's. But before we do that, as you know, the Royal Rumble is always about the numbers. So let's talk about all the stats and all the things that WWE and all the records that have been set during the Royal Rumble. The most appearances in the Royal Rumble is the Red Machine Kane. We'll be talking about him a little bit later on. The winner of the most Royal Rumbles is Stone Cold Steve Austin. The man that has spent the most time in the Royal Rumble and a traditional Royal Rumble was 2006 was Rey Mysterio. But the guy that has spent the most time in an overall Royal Rumble was when Bryan Danielson spent an hour and 16 minutes and 5 seconds in the 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble about 4 or 5 years ago. I think that was 2017. But I consider Rey Mysterio, Buaka, the guy that lasted the longest in the Royal Rumble, because 30 men is different from 50. We shouldn't count Bryan Danielson's record. But the guy that has spent the most time in an overall Royal Rumble is Le Champion AEW Chris Jericho. The guy that has spent the shortest amount of time in the Royal Rumble is Santino Marella. And if you watched my collection episode preview throughout the week, I talked about Santino Marella and I showed you that I had my ring set up like that. Maybe Santino will be in this year's one and he'll last longer than 1 second. Speaking of the collection episode, I hope everybody enjoyed it and everybody had fun and everybody liked seeing all my cool stuff again. But back to the records. The guys that has eliminated the most men in the Royal Rumble was Brock Lesnar when he eliminated 13 in a row before Drew McIntyre and Ricochet came out and finally knocked him out. Also, Braun Strowman eliminated 13, but that was in the 50-man battle royal or the Royal Rumble, and we don't really want to count that with this. The man that has eliminated the most men was the Big Red Machine, Kane again. Kane holds all these records. And let's be real, people. Brock Lesnar got lucky beating Kane's record. Roman beat it in 2014. But Kane's record held for a long time, eliminating 11 men in the Royal Rumble. How about the man that has spent and the highest number of superstars was 8. There was a lot of superstars. Let me look at my phone. Highest number of superstars in a single elimination. Oh, so it was the person that was eliminated the most every time. It was Viscera. Viscera was eliminated in 8 Royal Rumbles, and that's the most by anybody. I had to look at my phone for a second because I couldn't see exactly what the stat was. What about the man that has made the most Royal Rumble appearances in 4 different decades? It's the HBK, Shawn Michaels. I'm a sexy boy. Speaking of Shawn Michaels, he's on my t-shirt. So is Stone Cold. I totally forgot about this. I knew there was a reason why I wanted to wear this shirt. But hey, that's crazy that he's been in the Royal Rumble in 4 decades. Mick Foley he entered the Royal Rumble 3 different times, and Nia Jax entered the Royal Rumble in the men's and the women's in the same night. There's been so many records, and I cannot wait to see if there's any of these records can be broken this year. So let's not keep talking about the records because we did spend a little bit of too much time on the records. Now let's get into the Royal Rumble matches. And the first one we're going to talk about, like I said, is the women's. And let's talk about the women that have been announced. And then I'm going to give you the women that I think could be in it. And then I'm going to give you the final 3 of who I think will be the final 3. And then I'm going to give you the winner for the women, and then we're going to talk about the men. So the women that have been announced, and they announced a lot of superstars about 3 weeks ago on SmackDown. They announced Rhea Ripley, Nikki Cross, ASH, Nikki and Brie, the Bella Twins, Shotzi Blackheart. I'm going to call her Shotzi Blackheart. I don't care if her name's Shotzi. Natalya, Michelle McCool. Does that mean we're going to see Undertaker again? I hope not. Dana Brooke, the 24/7 championship. Who knows? Maybe Reggie will enter the women's Royal Rumble. We have the women's tag team champions Carmella and Queen Zelina Vega. We have Tamina. She's also fighting over the 24/7 championship right now. We have the the Impact champion. I almost said TNA. The Impact knockout champion, Mickie James. And there's a rumor that she's going to be allowed to come out in her entrance that she uses in Impact, and that would be really cool. We have my favorite, the blonde bombshell and the girl that I drooled over growing up, Kelly, the girl with 2 names. We also have the upcomer, Aaliyah. Summer Rae, I guess she's a legend now. Okay. Naomi, Shayna Baszler, the Queen, Charlotte Flair, Lita, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, you only live once, Sasha Banks. This was announced on SmackDown last night. The legit boss is back, and she made it back in time for the Royal Rumble, and she said it's time to rumble. It's time to rumble. And lastly, the last person that was announced was Sonya Deville. She told Naomi that she'll see her at the Royal Rumble. So now that I named all those superstars or those women, there was 23 women that was announced. And now I'm going to give you 7 people that I think could be in it. And I'm probably going to be wrong on some of them, but there are some of them I've seen and I've heard rumors about. So my predictions for the 7 surprises is Melina. I want to see Melina. I hope for God she does that entrance. Let's see, Trish Stratusfaction is going to go everywhere. Maybe she'll enter 30. Let's see the return of Bayley and Paige. Yes, I'm calling it. Paige is returning. We have seen rumors. She's cleared for return, and she's going to be at the Rumble. This one might be a surprise. You might have forgot about her. Asuka. And my last 2 predictions. One prediction we've heard and they've reached out to, Ronda Rousey. Maybe we'll see Ronda back. That'd be pretty cool. And my last prediction is somebody we have not seen in a while. They haven't mentioned her unless if it's a package. We haven't really seen too much. But I'm going to go with a legend that I think and that I miss and we haven't seen in a while. Stacy Keibler, legs for days. If you know Stacy Keibler, you remember how her legs could go for days and it was just crazy. So I'm going to say Stacy Keibler returns at the Royal Rumble. And those are my 7 predictions. I'm sure we could see some NXT. I'd really like to see some NXT people come out. Maybe Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, Io Shirai. Maybe we'll see those people. Maybe we'll even see Mandy Rose, the NXT Women's Champion. Maybe Gigi and JC Jane will come out too. Who knows? There's going to be so many things. That's one of my favorite things about the Royal Rumble is that you don't really know what is going to happen. And it's just one of those things that I cannot wait to see what happens. And I don't know which one is going to start off and which one is going to end because that's usually how they do it. But I feel like whichever one does start off and one does end, I think the one that does start it off isn't going to be as good as the one that does end. But we'll just have to see. So those are all the predictions that I have. But now let's get into who I think are going to be the final 3 for the Women's Royal Rumble. And then I'm going to give you who I think is going to come out on top and survive this year's Royal Rumble. Now, instead of going through the whole Royal Rumble on how I think everybody's going to enter and where the surprises are going to come, I'm just going to give you who I think are going to be the final 3 and then who I think are going to win. Because, we could see some of these women last a long time, like possibly like a Bella twin, like Nikki might enter one and she might last a long time, or maybe Kelly will just come in and be thrown out. Maybe Mickie James will be the first entrant. A lot of things could happen. Maybe a surprise right away. But, but we don't want to sit here for 4 hours and talk about that. We just want to get ready to Rumble. So, my final 3 predictions for this is going to be, the final 3 is going to be Lita, Ronda Rousey, and Bianca Belair. Because there's been a lot of rumors also that Bianca could go back-to-back because, she won it last year after entering number 3. But I do think that she'll be in the final 3, and I do think that she'll last really long. But I do think that this is where it gets really interesting. Because in my predictions, I think the final 2 is going to be Ronda Rousey versus Lita. And this is a dream match that everybody would think, we want to see it, but we never thought about it. This would be something that we never thought we'd want to see. And that would just be awesome, just to have that stare down in the final 2. And, there's been rumors about Lita. She had a supposable offer to go to AEW before she made her return. And she's come out and she's had a couple segments with Charlotte. So, the final 2 being Lita and Ronda Rousey. I do think that Ronda Rousey will face Becky Lynch. And I do think that Lita is going to end up throwing Ronda Rousey over the top rope and winning the Royal Rumble and becoming your 2022 winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. Lita, this is why do I say Ronda Rousey and Lita being the final 2? Because if you've noticed throughout the years of the Royal Rumbles, I've watched a lot of the old Royal Rumbles lately. It's always the final 2 men or the final 2 women that have been in the match that main event. 2005, John Cena and Batista. 2006, we had Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. They were the final two, and they ended up main eventing WrestleMania 22 in Chicago. And then Triple H, the final three in that match, Triple H ended up facing John Cena at WrestleMania 22. We've seen Chris Jericho. He faced CM Punk, and then Sheamus beat him in the final two. And Sheamus went on to beat Daniel Bryan after Daniel Bryan kissed AJ Lee. Man, I would love to see AJ Lee. If AJ Lee came out, that pop would be ridiculous. Oh my God. I didn't even think about AJ Lee. But if AJ Lee came out, that would be awesome. So I just feel like that, that could happen again this year. So that's why I'm saying Lita and Ronda Rousey are going to be the final two. But I'm taking my girl from Team Extreme, Lita, to come out on top and win the Women's Royal Rumble. And she's going to go on to face Charlotte at WrestleMania. And I think that Ronda is going to go on to face Becky. And if those are the two main events for WrestleMania, I'm down. But now that we talked about the women, let's talk about the men. Like I said, I don't know which way it's going to start, but the Men's Royal Rumble has 25 people announced out of 30, and that means there's not going to be many surprises. And to be honest, this is where I expect maybe we'll see somebody beat up somebody like we've seen in years past with Ty Dillinger, a.k.a. Shawn Spears. We've seen people get beat up, a long time ago. We saw Mick Foley beat up. He took somebody out so he could enter the Royal Rumble. There's been a lot of things happening in the Royal Rumble before. But as of now, there's 25 out of 30 superstars named. It is the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford. We have Buaka 619, Rey Mysterio, and his son Dominic. And I don't know if you saw, but Rey said if Dominic eliminates him, he's taking away his car keys. So I don't know, Dom. You might not want to do that if you want to spend time with your girlfriend. We have Austin Theory. We have Sheamus, Damian Priest, the United States Champion, AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, Big E, ex-WWE Champion, Kofi Kingston from the New Day, Happy Corbin, Riddick Moss, Kevin Fight, Owens Fight. We have Sami Zayn. We're going to see the BFFs maybe again together. We have Omos. Omos is going to be that guy just to throw everybody over the top rope, and he's going to be like, I'm big, strong man. And, maybe Johnny Knoxville will come out and knock him out. Speaking of that, I didn't mention that yet, but Johnny Knoxville from Jackass is in the Royal Rumble. Don't ask me what the hell he's doing, but he's taking up a spot for somebody that could be in there. And, it is what it is, but Johnny Knoxville is really in the Royal Rumble. We have Randy Orton. We have Riddle, Matt Riddle, Chad Gable, and Otis, the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. I still don't understand that. We have the Dirty Dogs, Bobby Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. They've just completely ruined that. We have Shinsuke Nakamura. We saw that pop in my collection episode preview this following week. Shinsuke, he's going to do his thing, Intercontinental Champion. We have Rick Boobs. He's doing his thing and he's playing music, and I'm sure that's one of the guys Omos is going to throw over the top rope. And we finally have Ricochet. Yes, Ricochet, he's still on the roster. He hasn't been released, but he still isn't being used. What are we doing here? Ricochet is a superstar, and he needs to be somewhere, and he needs to be in the mid-card, in the main event card. He needs to be somewhere on the card, people. Stop sleeping on my man Ricochet. But, like I said, there's 25 people announced. So there's not a lot of surprises, and that's one of the things that I dislike, is that they've announced so many people that there's just really no surprises. And there's been rumors coming out. I've heard rumors of Bad Bunny, Shane McMahon. I've heard rumors of possibly somebody, like just random people that like I could see Hurricane coming out. I could see just people that, like, maybe we'll see Matt Bloom. Maybe he'll come out as Tensai. That would be hysterical. Maybe we'll see Goldberg. Maybe, I didn't even mention it, maybe we'll see the losers of the championship matches in the Royal Rumble too. So say if Roman loses, maybe he'll be in the Royal Rumble and that's how he faces Brock. Who knows? We'll have to see. but there's not many surprises, and I just could see that happening because there's just, I mean, it sucks, but I mean, it's what we expect now, and we never get our hopes up with WWE. But for the 5 surprises that there are, my 5 predictions for the Royal Rumble for the men, for the 5 surprises, and 2 of them, I said their name about a minute ago. It's Bad Bunny and Shane McMahon. They've already been rumored, and it's just so predictable, people. I could see this happening. Vince McMahon thinks it's good shit to have Shane McMahon and Bad Bunny. And don't get me wrong, I love my man Bad Bunny, but he's going on tour. We know he's not going to win. He's just going to be there. Maybe we'll see him and Damian Priest team up again and stuff, but I mean, it is what it is. And Shane McMahon, the best thing about Shane McMahon, my friend said it, it's literally his music. Shane, I love you, and you've done phenomenal things for us to entertain us growing up, but you should not be in the Royal Rumble, my guy. I'm going to say it, Kane, the Big Red Machine. We talked about all of the records that this man holds. He's going to come in, and he's just going to keep stacking on his records, and maybe he'll enter early, and maybe he'll stay in it for a while. That'd be nice to see the Big Red Machine. My 2 very bold predictions, but kind of like not really, is X-Pac. We've seen X-Pac and X-Pac, or X-Pac, maybe, yeah, X-Pac. We've seen X-Pac a while. Like, we've seen him before, and, you know, we've seen he's been cleared also. We've also maybe even seen Corey Graves. He's not one of my predictions. We could possibly see him. He's also has been cleared to return. But my other and my last prediction is Carlito. We saw Carlito last year. He was in phenomenal shape. He hasn't showed up in AEW yet like everybody else that leaves WWE. So maybe Carlito's just sitting at home and, you know, maybe we'll see it happen. But those are my top 5 predictions for the Royal Rumble match for the men. And now let's talk about who I think are going to be the final 3 before I tell you the winner for the men's Royal Rumble match. The final 3 for the men's Royal Rumble match, I do think that it is going to be somebody like, probably like Big E, and, you know, we might even see Johnny Knoxville in the final 3. But there was another surprise that I do want to mention. We might see the return of John Cena. You know, he says that he might not come back and he's busy, but he did say his time wasn't up in WWE and it's always his home, and that would be the biggest pop in the world. So maybe John Cena will pop up. But my final 3, I'm going to go with Big E, Kevin Owens, and I am going to go with, I don't even know, people. I can't even, like, think of it at the top of my head. I need to go over the list one more time. Give me Rey Mysterio. Let's go Kevin Owens, Big E, and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is always good, and he always does his thing. And I've even heard rumors out there, people, that they're going to do Austin Theory versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. Maybe Shane will throw out Austin, or Austin will throw out Shane. But if that's what it is, what are they going to do? Put Vince in a shark cage and fight for Vince's honor, and the winner gets to be Vince's son? I mean, that would be pretty, that would be good shit, Vince, at WrestleMania. But Rey Mysterio, Big E, and Kevin Owens are going to be my final 3. And I think Rey Mysterio is going to get eliminated here. And this is where I think maybe Dominic could even come out and distract him. I could see Dominic throwing Rey out earlier in the match, but I do want to see my man Rey Mysterio. He did last the longest and win it in 2006. So I want to see Rey Mysterio do his thing. But again, as you know, if you watch wrestling, this is where a lot of things are set up for WrestleMania. So we could see a lot of things happen. And that is why I think it is going to be Big E and Kevin Owens, because these two have been at the top of their game. Kevin Owens has been tag team with Seth Rollins, and they've been buddies like Kevin Owens was with Chris Jericho back in the day. Big E has been with the New Day and doing his thing, and he was WWE champion. And, you know, this might be surprising, but I am going to go with Big E to win the Royal Rumble. And, you know, you might be surprised, but, like, why are you going to pick Big E? Because Big E, you know, he deserves to have a match and not lose, like, you know, the way he did versus Brock Lesnar. Like Kofi lost. Kofi Kingston had a phenomenal Kofi Mania. He beat Bryan Danielson. He had that phenomenal moment, and Brock Lesnar beat him in, like, less than 2 minutes, and they just acted like Kofi never had the WWE Championship. So I'm taking Big E to win the Royal Rumble and go on to face Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania. And that would be a match, and that would be a great match to have. And hey, we might even also, people, we haven't seen Drew McIntyre in a minute. Maybe he'll return, and maybe that will be a big surprise. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what the surprises are, and there's so many names I could go on and on. I'd love to. I'll tell you what, though, people. If The Rock comes out or something like that, you're going to see your boy Tino at Tino Time 1996. Go check it out. Go follow your boy. Go subscribe. You're going to watch a kid go jump up and down and have a heart attack because that music hits. I'm going to scream like a girl, and it's going to be great. But that would be phenomenal if we see The Rock come back, but let's not get too much of our hopes up. But that's why I'm taking Big E to win the Men's Royal Rumble. And that's going to set up WrestleMania. And then, after the Royal Rumble and after it all its dust settles and over 50 people are thrown over the top rope and 2 people are left standing, we're going to have a lot of clarity to what's going to happen for WrestleMania this year. But the next stop after the Royal Rumble, we're going to Saudi Arabia, and we're going to the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia. It is the same weekend as Vengeance Day. NXT has brought back Vengeance Day, and that is also going to be the same weekend. So that is going to be a phenomenal week of wrestling. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a banger. I cannot wait to see what happens at the Royal Rumble. Hopefully we see some surprises, and hopefully we get taken out of our boots and we get taken out of our seats, and this isn't a boring Royal Rumble. Because let me tell you what, people, there's been so many amazing moments growing up as the Royal Rumble. John Cena returned. I'll tell you a funny story real quick. When John Cena returned in 2008, I did a 5-knuckle shuffle on my hardwood floor and literally busted my elbow open because I was so excited. So John Cena returns, that would be pretty cool. But I just want to see a moment like that, and that would just be awesome. Maybe we'll even see Stone Cold. Maybe, probably not. Kurt Angle, we'll have to see. There's just so much to go down and so much to happen. We have 6 phenomenal matches. We have a mixed tag team, 3 championship matches, and the 2 Royal Rumble matches. It's going to be awesome. It's also on a Saturday, so the kids get to stay up late and they don't got to go to school. I hope everybody enjoys this pay-per-view. I hope everybody enjoyed my collection episode and everybody enjoyed seeing all the stuff I have on the wall and in front of me and on the side of me and in my room and my little AEW collection. Remember? Shh. Even though it's not even that big of a secret anymore. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Remember to always smash that subscribe button, like, follow, at Tino Time 1996. Go look for that amazing logo. Go help your boy Tino out. Go subscribe. We need to keep getting those numbers up because you remember, your boy's coming, and one day he's going to be at the top. I hope everybody enjoys the Royal Rumble. I hope everybody grab some food, grab some wings, and have fun. And remember, it's on a Saturday, like I said, so kids don't got to go to school. So until we recap the event and we have so much more clarity on the road to WrestleMania, this is your boy Tino, signing out.